Hey everybody, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys. We're going to check in on Bitcoin, the markets, crypto stocks, all that good stuff. Bulls still have proving to do. We got a nice little bounce over the last couple of days. I'll talk about a trade I took on Bitcoin, why I am positioning as I am. And other than that, shut up, let's go. We're running the end of our Black Friday sale, another couple of days here, selling membership to our live stream and chat room community. Indicators, I'm going to talk about the superstack because that's what I use to enter Bitcoin down at 82,000. Courses, etc. Check out the link, posting it in the chat room. And that is that. Another thing to check out, I did an interview with a longtime Chart Guys member, 8 years of grind, and just finally reached the 1 million milestone verified on Kinfo. That was a fun interview. Check it out. It's on our YouTube channel. All right, now the charts. So Bitcoin. Bitcoin has bounced on the daily time frame from oversold conditions. Let's zoom out. Has anything changed on the daily chart for this bounce? The answer is no. Nothing has changed yet at this point. Couple of things that stood out. Number one, a volume climax marked the bottom. The reason I made an entry, as I talked about in the Tuesday live stream and then in the Thursday live stream, that Thursday live stream was just an informal Q&A, but somebody was asking me about it. I entered Bitcoin. First off, I said, I'm not interested in entering Bitcoin unless this exact setup happens. And it was a super stack. And again, we created the super stack indicator just from one of my strategies, which is, I like oversold bounces. And so waiting for things to get extreme all at the same time on a bunch of time frames and using that to find temporary exhaustion. And so I said, I have no interest in Bitcoin. I'm extremely patient. If we get a daily super stack, all right, I'll make an attempt. If we don't, I don't care if I miss a bounce. And I talked about how my superpower was my ability to not care if I miss a bounce. And that kept me patient. So Friday morning, we dropped down, we got to the daily superstack. What does that mean? That means every single time frame from the daily on down is in extremes, not just oversold, extreme RSI. Daily, 12-hour, 4-hour, hourly, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, all at the same time. So I made an entry on Friday morning in the 82,000s. Let's just call it 82.5 for simplicity. And my mindset was, okay, I'm in at 82.5. If we break 80,000, I will add a second position. I will then place my stop loss based on the dollar risk I am willing to take on the trade. We never broke 80,000, so I never got my second fill, and then the bounce started. I said, all right, that's fine. Let's see how it goes. My initial target was daily EMA 12 to look to take partial profit. We haven't gotten there. Yesterday, I shifted my game plan a little bit. The holidays had something to do with it. First, some proof. Grabbed initial Bitcoin in the 82,000s. We'll add a break of 80,000. Blah, blah, blah. Just said that. Yesterday, I sold some. So 1:07 p.m., I'm trimming enough Bitcoin, about a third of it, to have a 79.9999 break-even stop. And target for the rest is now looking towards weekly EMA 12. So if I don't stop out, break even with a fresh low, then I'm looking up towards weekly EMA 12 to have a solid win. The reason I shifted my game plan a little bit, the holiday. Number one, I don't want to care at all about the Bitcoin price during the holiday when markets are closed and I'm doing other things. And my mindset was, okay, if we don't get to my target of daily EMA 12, then I'm going to have to manage this trade into the holiday and potentially through the holiday. And I don't want to do that. So the reason I sold some Bitcoin at 1 p.m. yesterday was because right here, we had gone straight up, stair step to a new high. We were a bit extended. The NASDAQ was a bit extended at that point in time. We had gone straight up all day, and I knew that hourly consolidation was inevitable. So I say, okay, I'm going to trim a little bit here. My break even is now under 80,000. I'm either going to stop out break even and potentially make another attempt further on down the line. If I don't lose anything, I'm definitely open to making another attempt. Or I'm not going to stop out the bulls are going to get their act together, and I'm going to be looking in the upper 90,000s towards weekly EMA 12 as a target for the remaining position that I have. So bulls still don't look good at this point. Another reason I'm taking some profit is my reasoning for being in the trade, the daily super stack, is now no longer the case. I was in the trade because we were at extremes on every single time frame, daily on down. We're not oversold on any time frame at this point in time. My reason for being in the trade is no longer the case. So whenever that happens, I'm always trimming some position. And so, could this be a daily bear flag? Absolutely. There's nothing saying that this chart cannot be a daily bear flag at this point. The simple statement is, if daily EMA 12 is resistance, the bears don't have anything to worry about. Again, just put your mindset, put yourself in a bear's position. Let's just say you're a bear, a Bitcoin bear that's been swing trading. You've got nothing to worry about if daily EMA 12 is resistance. That's your keep it simple guide. And it's been a good one over the last couple of weeks. So if things are going to shift, and again, the relative weakness to the NASDAQ just continues to be glaring on a day in, day out basis. Here's Bitcoin free falling the last 45 minutes. You look at the NASDAQ over the last 45 minutes, it was a nice little heads up. Bitcoin weakness then led to a little NASDAQ weakness. But here's the NASDAQ trading at our 12:15 candle right now. And if we were trading at our 12:15 candle right now, Bitcoin would be 87.2. It's not. It's all the way back down, testing the low of the day. The NASDAQ is nowhere near the low of the day. It's just continued glaring relative weakness. That has to change. So I don't have any confidence in the bulls because it's not changing. And if we look at Bitcoin divided by the NASDAQ, as we've been watching, we can see that the lower high is already set, and we're back down approaching the low of last week, which was the weakest that Bitcoin has been to the NASDAQ in over a year. So I want things to shift to favor the bulls. They're not doing so. I have to trade the market I have, not the market I want, so I protect. I'm just ensuring that I'm not going to be hurt if the trend continues the way it has. If the bulls are going to pull this one out, we would need to set a daily, well, let's just assume the daily lower high is being set. If we set this daily lower high, we got to hold 80,000, and then we got to break that high, get over daily EMA 12, confirm a little daily uptrend. So 89.2 is now a short-term resistance level. And on the NASDAQ, what I was watching a little 12-hour inverse head and shoulders. Technically, that confirmed by breaking the right shoulder today. And so now I just zoom out to the daily and say, okay, maybe we do that on the daily. You will often find that if you're scaling, or I should say shifting your time frames, and thanks for likes and shares, I'll read the chat room in just a moment, you'll find a 2-minute equilibrium. Breaks with no follow through, you zoom out, it's now a 5-minute equilibrium. Same thing, 12-hour inverse head and shoulders, if it breaks with no follow through, it may turn into a daily inverse head and shoulders. If we can't break that resistance, the high of last Thursday when things got ugly in the NASDAQ, then I'm going to look for the possibility of that. And I can say that Bitcoin bulls desperately need the NASDAQ to either just keep going up or confirm the daily uptrend. Fear has been alleviated the past couple of days from the broader market with the bounce that we've been seeing, but we are technically still in a daily downtrend on the NASDAQ. So just keeping that in mind. Bitcoin's in a daily downtrend, NASDAQ's in a daily downtrend. Bitcoin's clearly weaker than the NASDAQ. So that's where we stand right now. Dominance chart continues to drop. Weekly stair step up, now a weekly stair step down. So that tells us on the bounce, the daily bounce, that altcoins bouncing more than Bitcoin. Ethereum had a bit of a better bounce, but again, same everything. If daily EMA 12 is resistance, which has rejected the high of the last 2 bounce attempts, nothing changes. And so we're pulling back just under that level right now. The daily lower highs are not officially set in ETH and BTC, but we're watching for them to potentially be set up. We're forming daily inside bars. If we close this way and see any kind of pullback in the NASDAQ, we're going to break these inside bars bare and officially set the daily lower highs. The thing that I need, that I'm looking for to glaringly tell me things are shifting is relative strength to the NASDAQ. From 2 days in a row. Just give me 2 days in a row. When's the last time that's happened? I don't know. It's been a while. Probably last bounce. I mean, not even. It's been over 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So give me 2 days in a row and I'll say, hey, maybe things are shifting. But until then, business as usual. So ETH, same deal, slightly stronger, but 3,000 psychological resistance, rejecting the price initially. If I want to be zoomed in, I'm watching, can the ETH bears confirm a 4-hour downtrend? Bitcoin already did it. So Bitcoin's in a little 4-hour downtrend right now, little dinky pivots. ETHBTC proved to me something is different. I was watching for it back here. Can we confirm this daily uptrend? No. Fail, fail. Nope, can't do it. Can we break daily resistance? Nope, fail, roll over, fail. Break the friggin' lower highs or nothing changes. If ETHBTC doesn't get through here, business as usual, nothing changes. If we're going to say, whoa, things are really shifting, Bitcoin strength to the NASDAQ, ETHBTC bull break. That would be a glaring bulls are back in the short term that we haven't seen in a long time. So that's what I'm watching for. I'm positioned where if it happens, I benefit. And if it doesn't happen, I don't benefit. And again, that's just my style. I'm not predicting anything. I saw a spot on the chart where I had good probabilities to be able to position. I know that we're extreme enough on those RSI levels that worst case, I probably get a short-term bounce that I can position in. Well, worst case, I stop out and have an acceptable loss. Second worst case, we get a weak bounce that even if it's a daily bear flag, I can position a bit. And so again, that's the name of the game for trading. Technical analysis is not predicting anything. It's identifying spots where you have low risk, better reward, and ideally positioning yourself where you can be helped and not hurt. Stocks MSTR has fallen apart. If you've been watching, you know that I have been bearish MSTR since this support turned into resistance. The reason being the expectation of premium erosion and being oversold isn't enough for me to be interested. So context is everything. I love looking for daily oversold bounce plays when a monthly high or low is the most likely scenario in a long-term monthly uptrend. MSTR, we're daily oversold. We're in a monthly, weekly, daily downtrend. So I'm not interested in daily oversold because the longer-term time frames don't align for it. Look at the last time we were daily oversold. Back here, guess what was the case at that point in time? A monthly high or low was the most likely scenario. Confluence of signals. Monthly high or low. Monthly EMA 12 has been support for the last year or whatever it was. We're testing it now in daily oversold conditions. Daily oversold, back burner, marked the monthly high or low, and then we confirmed a monthly downtrend. This daily oversold in this context of the bigger picture chart is completely different than down here. What traders will do, or what people who dog on RSI will do, is they'll treat those two things the exact same. They are nowhere near the exact same. That's like, oh, I'm not going to have a good analogy off the top of my head. That's like, I don't know. How are you going to value a peanut butter and jelly sandwich if you just ate dinner versus if you haven't had food for 3 days and you're out in the wilderness? It's a completely different sandwich. It's not a great analogy, but we're going with it. I was talking about fluffinutta yesterday. I haven't had a fluffinutta sandwich in 18 years. Might have to end that streak. Okay, so MSTR. Make the bulls prove something. You don't need to nail the bottom. We'll see a clear shift happen when it happens. It's just a dog still. BMNR had a big bounce the other day, but we are potentially giving it back. At least on BMNR's bounce, there's space for a potential higher low. compared to 24.33. Again, just like Bitcoin and ETH, it's possible we hold the low. But MSTR doesn't even have that space to work with. We are testing the low right now. If we can hold 166 again, all right, we'll have a base of support building. Look at Meta. Meta held a base at 583. All bears from earnings, nothing changing. You build a base, you hold it 3-4 times, okay, things shift. So if MSTR can build this base and hold 166 again for a third time, then maybe there's something, but that's a big if. Altcoin ZEC is tightening up still. Again, got to be cautious when a lead bull rolls over, because so often once a lead bull is done being a lead bull, it just fades back into oblivion. So we're on the verge of starting weekly consolidation. If 469 breaks, weekly consolidation is underway. Yes, a weekly high or low will be the most likely scenario, but anything that has run, I made this post recently on Twitter, anything that has run 1,000 to 2,000% in the span of 1 to 2 years, a 40 to 50% drawdown from the high is inevitable. It's going to happen. So on anything that has run this hard, you just got to keep in mind that's a normal pullback on anything that goes this exponential. And so what would a 50% pullback be from the high at this point if we are topping out? It would be down to the 370s. But we are still tightening up. 2-day time frame for clarity. Bulls are trying to hold this base at 423. If we're going to form a 2-day equilibrium, high, low, lower high, can we form a higher low? So far the answer is no. If we do, we're going to look to keep tightening up into next week, but burdens on bulls to prove to us that support can hold. And so far, it has been unable to do so. Well, no, I take that back. It is still holding. So far, the bulls are not giving us anything in terms of confidence that that level is going to hold. So we got a little support at 469.69, but the level that matters more to me is that 423. All right. Reminiscing about 2017. Very hard to trade compared to prior cycles, pre-ETF. Absolutely. The game has changed. If you look at the amount of dollar volume and the number of trades that I took in 2017, 2018, even 2021, it's just been a downward, it's just been this. This is my trading, crypto trading activity in my Coinbase account. Massive dump. Huge spike 2017, less 2018, even less 2019. Little uptick for the euphoria 2021. But it's just going down. I mean, I'm trading Bitcoin like a couple times a year at this point. It's a different market. And that's why I've been trying to get crypto traders into stocks, because I think it's more favorable, especially if you're in the US. It's hands down more favorable if you're in the US. And what I've been continuously saying is, number one, no fees. Number two, we're not missing out on volatility. In 2017, you could not find crypto volatility in any other market in the world. In 2022, 2023, 2024, 5, whatever, it's there. We got all that volatility in the stock market and even more. Uranium names ran thousands of percent the last 2 years. Quantum names ran thousands of percent the last year. Yeah, there's more opportunity in stocks than crypto. Everybody was holding out for the altcoin season to try and justify it, and it just never materialized. So again, that's why you want to have the confidence and the ability to just maneuver anywhere. If that changes, and oh man, it is an alt season, great, I'll jump back in and trade crypto, but we got to focus on where there's the most opportunity and where it makes the most sense. And for me, that's been in stocks without even a question over the last 3 to 4 years. And again, if I were saying something else, what I am saying to you right now is counterproductive for my service. I run a trading education service with a great team. And that's why I made a post on Twitter that resonated with a bunch of people. If there is a newsletter, a trading service, a Twitter company, whoever, that is crypto only, they have massive incentive to be dishonest and to try and keep the hopium dripping, because if they were to be real and say exactly what I just said, they're literally hurting their own bottom line. I'm willing to do it because trading is my number one primary source of income, and I'm not dependent on crypto traders paying me to learn. I think it's beneficial. The interview that I just talked about, first thing, So Talk, started in crypto, 2017, again, grinded for 7 years, went to stocks and futures, and is now having his breakout year as a result. So, rant over, back to reading. For me, total one isn't going to dictate what determines a bear market. Bitcoin confirming a monthly downtrend is what does it. And even the NASDAQ. And, you know, the definition of a bear market, 20% off the highs, I dislike that. That's just a dumbed down way of viewing things, in my opinion. You know, we're going to be talking about a monthly head and shoulders on Bitcoin. Whether we bounce here, whether we drop to 70K and then bounce, we're going to be talking about that possibility. And I think it was last stream where I talked about this one. 2021 ended with a little head and shoulders. It was a dinky right shoulder in 2022, but that was the kiss of fate, the kiss of death, the seal of the deal. That was it. So for me, the monthly downtrend is key. And that's, you know, the first real monthly downtrend that I saw on the NASDAQ for a bear market was 2022. Every other weakness that I saw in my trading career since 2010 was just a fast, hard drop, V-shaped recovery. 2022 was the first grind, monthly, weekly, daily downtrend, month. And even since then, just quick, fast V-shape. So the monthly downtrend for me is what matters. Did I actually buy spot BTC or ETF? So when I made my buy, Fidelity was not open for pre-market trading yet. So spot. We're getting a little bounce now. Let's check back in. 15-minute lower high. We'll keep an eye out for that. All right, at least bulls are trying to hold support. But yeah, we're gonna look for a 15-minute lower high. ETH is holding on better, but still chopping around sideways. Sol. So Sol, anything under 144.66 is a daily lower high. Again, daily EMA 12 grinder. Reject. Testing, battling. Trying to shift. Potential little inverse head and shoulders. Just keep it simple. If we're going to change things here, break the lower highs. Create the space for an eventual daily trend change attempt. So break 144.66 for us to say, okay, something's different for the first time since we confirmed the daily downtrend to start November. And on a name like Sol, I am watching for a potential 2-month high or low. High, low, lower high. Can we hold 95 and keep tightening up into next year? Bulls have a lot of proving to do. Let's assume I never bought Bitcoin and want a long-term position. At what prices do you start accumulating? And what would your strategy be for an entry? Would you buy anything else? BNB, ETH? So that would be dependent. Let's take it one at a time. Would I buy anything else aside from Bitcoin? Depends on your financial situation. I would need a page of details. What's your debt? What's your monthly expenses? How much cash do you have set aside? What's your retirement fund like? What's your allocation for high risk versus your more standard mutual funds or S&P 500 or whatever? These are all things that I'm obviously not going to know. If I have abundant cash and I've got, all the longer term positions I want, and, I've been waiting with this cash for some fear, then yeah, I'll choose a couple things. I'll choose ETH and BTC. Those are my only two long-term crypto positions. Do I know if ETH is going to be the future? I have zero idea. Zero idea. I have no idea, right? I'm not that smart. I'm a trader. I'm good at technical analysis. I have no way of having any accuracy comparing the fundamental thesis of ETH versus HYPE versus SOL. Zero idea. So why am I in ETH? Because I can't lose. I traded my way so that what I have is risk-free. It goes to zero, I still win. It goes up big, I win. Trading is about putting yourself in win-win situations. Same as my little short-term Bitcoin trade right now. So when do you buy? When there's fear, you start DCAing. Don't try and get fancy. If you've been waiting for some fear and you don't have exposure and now you want some, you're buying a little bit in the 80s. You look up DCAing, determine a schedule. I'm going to buy 5% of what I want every 2 weeks. I'm going to buy 10% of what I want every month, whatever it is. I'm going to buy 20% of what I want every $10,000 we drop. Start now at 85, drop down to 75, boom, I'm going to add more. Just to develop the game plan. There's no right or wrong way to DCA, aside from buying everything all at once and thinking you're going to nail a bottom. Can you use alerts on the superstack indicator? Yes. TradingView sales. I love TradingView. I use them, obviously. I got the sign. For me, they are still the leader in charts. So, obviously, if you're going to use them, now's the time to subscribe when the deal's going. Target 97K. That would align with weekly EMA 12. I hope so. I lost my spot. Bear with me. All right. Leveraged bulls lost. Bitcoin 72,000 coming. Maybe. Peanut butter analogy, a good one. Good. How do you turn it off and take a break? I don't know. Force it. I recently went to Washington, rented a van, and just did a big loop. And I was forced by the lack of internet to take a break. So you can do that if you really struggle. I try and, I like having other people around so I'm not looking at my phone. If I'm hanging out with somebody at night, I'm not going to be constantly looking at my phone. That makes me a jerk. Eventually, there's plenty of off switches I'm looking for. I'm looking for the entrepreneur off switch to chill out. I'm looking for the trading off switch to a certain degree. It's hard. It's very hard. And it is obviously, everything about it is bombarding us with addiction. So the social media aspect, the dopamine drips of prices going up in your favor. It is designed by design to suck you in and not let you go. And so you have to have discipline and overcome it. You have to establish a routine. How do I manage the view on crypto volume? I don't use crypto volume nearly as much for that reason, but when it's glaring, I'm looking for a climax bottom okay, Coinbase is a good source. And then I can just go to IBIT. Yeah, that was a big, huge volume day as well. Okay, that's all I need to know. It was a huge volume day. I don't got to look at every exchange. But like on shorter term time frames, I don't use volume as anything meaningful. It's okay you're late, Michael. BMNR of 4-hour inverse head and shoulders is possible. I'm watching a lot of names, stocks, for potential 4-hour inverse head and shoulders. Let's look at Quantum, IONQ. Ooh, relative strength just spiked. Oh, NASDAQ's back up near the high. That's why Bitcoin's bouncing. So this is a little dinky 4-hour inverse head and shoulders. I've got, what, SNDK somebody asked me about. Hey. SNDK somebody asked me about. Potential 4-hour inverse head and shoulders. So there's a number of potential 4-hour inverse head and shoulders on stocks out there that I am keeping an eye on. And so BMNR fits in with that as a possibility. Thanks, Ralph. Thought on Michael Burry's latest move to online newsletter. I don't know. It worked, I guess, right? Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. I'd have to hear his reasoning for it or whatever. Do we think we're in an AI bubble? Again, I have no idea. If we are, I will not be significantly hurt. If we are not, I will continue to benefit. How? By being mostly cash. My day trading account's always cash. That's where the majority of my capital is at. IRA is currently in this moment more cash than it's been in the last 6 months. Just by naturally stopping out of positions, walking up stops, etc. I don't trust the flashing numbers in cyberspace on any of this game. And so I position myself, if all markets went to zero to tomorrow and the dollar still has its same value, that obviously those can't go hand in hand, but let's just pretend, then I'm taking a hit for sure, but my net worth is dropping probably less than 20%. So that's my approach. I've never trusted financial institutions or any of this. I don't trust any of this. So are we in an AI bubble? I have no idea. And one of my superpowers, aside from my patience, is looking myself in the mirror and admitting to myself all the things I have no idea on. And that just goes to show you can make money in markets without predicting these things. You don't have to. You can react. If we're in an AI bubble, it'll obviously be glaring at some point. I'll be out all my longs. I'll be making some money on the way down. I have no idea. The people who hurt themselves are the people that convince themselves that they do have an idea. I'm certain it's an AI bubble. No, you don't have any idea. Gold and silver still look good. Purchasing spot Bitcoin, tips for minimizing fees. That's an AI question. I haven't been keeping up with all the platforms' fees at this point. Yep, 2017, very different. Yes, I hold some spot crypto holdings from 2017. Sold like 18% of them this year when Bitcoin was over 100, 105 or something. First sell in 8 years. But again, that's a position that's 100% profit because by trading them 2017 to 2018, I've locked in 4 times the profit of what those entire positions are worth. Time is definitely the most valuable asset, if it's even real. Favorite penny stock? No. I skipped some again. I keep an eye on open every now and again. I haven't looked at the chart in a couple days. Riot and CLSK, they're shifting a bit. There's another 4-hour inverse head and shoulders. It's about to confirm. A little bit of relative strength. Riot's got to get over 1446, but just the fact that we're over the high of yesterday when Bitcoin is not. CLSK, yeah, temporary bottoms in. CLSK earnings are after hours. That's going to impact both of them. But again, they have to confirm daily uptrends for things to shift, because this was a great bounce and we didn't confirm a daily uptrend and we gave it all back. You've got to confirm the daily uptrend to prove things are shifting. Bitcoin and quantum computing. Again, I'm making myself sound real dumb this stream. I have no idea. Not in the slightest. I know more about the dirt in my yard than I know about Bitcoin's actual risks with quantum and a timeline for it. If quantum destroys Bitcoin, I won't be significantly negatively impacted. My net worth will go down. It won't change my life in any way. I don't know. All right, a couple more and then we're wrapping it up. Would I bail on some Bitcoin here if you're in massive green? Okay, so we could talk tax strategies. If you're in the red on Bitcoin and you've got a lot of realized gains on the year, then yeah, that's a potential strategy. Tax harvesting is definitely, there's trading strategies centered around it, where the underperformers generally, if the market as a whole has been up on the year, which is the case, underperformers get beat up in December because, again, if I'm up 100,000 and I got a $10,000 loss over here, if I sell that $10,000 loss on January 1st, I can offset $3,000 to the prior year, and then I've got $7,000 that is only going to be offset if I make $7,000 more dollars. If I sell it here, I pay less taxes on my 100,000. Now I've only got 90,000 to pay taxes on. So that's why people sell in December, and that's why a trading strategy surrounding that is to look for towards the right at the end of December for those names to bounce. Because everybody that's going to sell in the short term has now done so. And that's when you get some relief bounces going. So crypto's potentially in that window. All of these crypto stocks and Bitcoin itself, again, with everything else up so much, Google going crazy, NVDA up all year, that's a possibility over the next month as a factor that could lead to some additional downside pressure. Again, if you're asking me where do I see a gold long-term top, that requires me predicting, which I don't do. Just follow the trend. The gold bulls, I mean, I've been saying this literally the entire year. The gold bulls have full control if weekly EMA 12 is support. You don't have to think. Turn your brain off. Is weekly EMA 12 support? Yes, bulls in full control. Look at these tests. Hold, 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 hold. Still holding, still holding. You don't have to think. Lose it? All right, takes a profit. Things are shifting. Longer term consolidation's underway. But I hate price predictions. I hate Tom Lee giving price predictions. I think price predictions are useless. Everybody's, yeah, you nailed a price prediction. Great. And how about the other three you were wrong on? They're useless. Do I know if gold's going to top out at 5,000, 8,000, 6,200? No, nobody knows. People guess, and people that know less look to people that know more in markets and think that their guesses, I mean, I guess they're better educated guesses than a noob, but it's still a guess. And people put too much weight into these predictions, thinking that if someone has made money in markets that they can make good predictions. It's not how it goes. Price predictions get the headline clicks. They get people to follow you because you seem like you know. Oh, he sounds confident. He sounds confident saying Ethereum's going to 7,000. I'm going to follow him. I'm going to click like on that. I'm going to read that article. And it's just this self-perpetuating fuel of junk content. I'm getting cynical the more this stream goes on. It's just not the right way to approach markets. If you want to make money in this game long term, so much of what everybody does with regards to markets is the wrong approach. And predicting is one of them. I like a lot of things Tom Lee says. But he says Ethereum's going, Bitcoin 200,000 by the end of the year, blah, blah, blah. Ethereum going to 6,000 by the end of January. And then he just covers his ass and goes, yeah, we might get another leg down to 2,500. Okay, Tom, so 2,500 and 7,000. You're covered. You got both ends covered. You can be right over here. You can be right over here. It's just such useless. Bleh. Glad the videos are helpful. Correlations and ratios. Yes, that was a big level up for me personally. CIFR, probably doing something similar to... No, it's a different look. Okay. So we call this a bear flag confirmed with 0 follow through. Trying to set a weekly higher low. Key resistance test right here, 1756. Again, this is another one where if we top out near here, it's a potential for an inverse head and shoulders, but the weekly bounce is underway. No, it's not. It's on the verge of underway. If we get the weekly bounce going, we got to keep in mind there's a lot of space for a potential weekly lower high to be the result of that bounce. The most important thing for bulls from here, whether we break this resistance or reject, we must confirm the daily uptrend if we're going to get any follow through on the bounce. So if I'm a bull, what I want to see is break resistance, get the space, then form the higher low and higher high to keep that bounce going. But what you're going to have to protect against is, what if we confirm a weekly downtrend and see a long-term top being set? We don't got to worry about that now, but that's just got to be in the back of your mind because we did just pull back 50% from that high. Again, if you're going to run this hard, you're going to pull back 50% eventually. There's your 49% pullback. Bulls are hoping for a 50% plus bounce retracement to at least form a tightening range. And what that would look like is, okay, confirm a daily uptrend, follow through on the weekly bounce. Even if you set a lower high, you can form a higher low and tighten up. Exactly what gold is doing. Big pullback, but you get a big enough bounce where you can just tighten up on the weekly for a while. Do I believe in cycle trading? I don't do it, but I'm sure it works for some people, just like I'm sure Elliott Wave works for some people and Ichi Cloud works for some people. So I'm not going to dog things that I don't use just because I don't use them, because somebody could very well be using it and doing very well. I don't know. I just know that I don't use cycle trading. FOMC will not impact. Honestly, you know how I trade FOMC? I don't read the statement. I don't listen to Powell. I'm watching the numbers. I'm watching the price levels. Where are we rejecting? Are we breaking bull? Are we breaking bear? That's the information I care about. So, no, nothing that comes out of the Fed impacts anything that I do unless it's a significant shift in the price action. And that's what I'm responding to, the price action. Nothing to do with the words or the forward looking or the Powell color tie, whatever. CRCL, got to find a new support because we are in free fall. All-time low, 64. That's all we're going off at this point. And I like keeping an eye out for an eventual bottom. I mean, so many IPOs do this. Look at Meta. And then once they find a bottom, there's massive opportunity. And so here's Meta. And how long did it take Meta to bottom? Took Meta 4 months to find a bottom. Then we chop around for another few months, and then it's off to the races. So there are a ton of examples like that where once you find that bottom, it's very worthwhile. I'd be surprised if it happens right at the IPO low there. Has it been 4 months? 5 months? But if I'm looking long circle, I want to wait. Again, I don't care if it's 20% off the low. I want to get in when the momentum's at my back so I'm profitable right out of the gate, as opposed to trying to find a bottom and becoming a bag holder. So here's a simple statement. Circle has never confirmed a clear weekly uptrend in its history. So first clear confirmed weekly uptrend, we could say, hey, things are shifting. Things are different than they've been. You guys keep it coming. I got to go soon. I got a car appointment. Bitcoin, at what point does it become unhealthy consolidation on the 6-month time frame? Retracement size, 50% plus. $71K. But again, it matters to me, do we get there without confirming a monthly downtrend yet? Or has a monthly downtrend confirmed? Those two things are not created equal to me. Any 2026 trading goals in regard to crypto? No, not one. I've got 2026 trading goals, but nothing specific for crypto. I don't care where my money comes from. $1 from crypto is the exact same as $1 from stocks, is the exact same as $1 from raking a lawn. So no. I'm watching for mini rotation from Google back to NVDA. Google daily consolidation, NVDA daily bounce, but clearly massive rotation going on out of NVDA into Google over the last week plus. Thanks, ARM. Glad to help control the FOMO. Tesla's still a potential monthly cup and handle. You know, I'm definitely watching that into the new year. If the NASDAQ is going right back to melt-up mode, Tesla is a potential monthly cup and handle. Stocks will definitely be 24/7. 90% chance. All right. Thanks, everybody. Do good things. 7 more likes to get to 100. Just keeping it real. That's all I can do. And again, the major takeaways from this stream, number one, bull's not proven much. Gotta see relative strength to the NASDAQ multiple days in a row. Gotta see ETHBTC prove something. Number two, I don't need to predict to make money in markets. I can position low risk, high reward, not having any clue what the future holds. And that is the way to approach markets, in my opinion. And you'll find a lot of traders do that. A lot of professional traders will highlight how, I don't know, is the constant reminder that we have in markets. And expand your horizons to other markets is the other major takeaway. There's a lot of people who did go to stocks a few years ago who are very pleased with that decision. And then it'll be time to come back into crypto when there is more opportunity here compared to stocks at some point. I don't know when. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Check out that interview with SoTalk. See you next time.